Look at us, huh?
Who would have thought?
Not me. The circle is complete.
What is happening,
It
Cole? What is
feels
happening?
like 2018 again.
You know what I'd say? If I had one trip in a time machine and I had to pick between 2018 and 2019, that's an easy choice. That's about the easiest choice I've ever made.
Yeah. Yes. Well, you guys are probably aware of why we're here right now. It's because there's been an earth-shattering announcement.
We had an emergency pod.
Emergency pod to talk about what we all thought was coming. 100T Clid. Welcome, Clid, to 100 Thieves.
Yeah. And he's live on the show with us. Amazing. I can't believe we got him on the show.
Let's go to Clid. Here we go.
Okay.
Oh,
so we don't
he
have
must have just disconnected.
We don't.
He just disconnected.
We do have Meteos, though. Meteos.
William Hartman, a.k.a. Meteos. Let's go to Meteos.
Hey.
No, I'm not ready for that yet either.
He's also not available.
Yeah. Oh, boy.
Producer, let us down easy.
So, yesterday, when we were doing the show, I can't remember which show it was because we did two yesterday.
Yeah.
But people were bringing up the duo queue that was happening between our leaked but not officially announced mid laner, Ryoma.
Yeah. We got some sleuths, some super sleuths.
An unknown player, NA player by the name of Meteos.
He's some raw talent, y'all.
I think I said something about people brought up the Twitter following, right? And I was like, I feel like Twitter following shouldn't be reliable, but at the same time, it's kind of reliable. Well, that has come very true, my friend, because here we are. We never thought we'd be here. Meteos has returned to 100 Thieves.
Cole?
Yes.
How are you feeling?
I don't know yet. I do not know.
I want to do this so since we're a reaction podcast now, which is not a genre, by the way. This format doesn't really match, you know. What were your thoughts as you watched that video? And you don't have to give me the full analysis breakdown, but just how did you feel watching the video with Meteos back in the black and red pinstriped jerseys going to glory days? How'd you feel?
So you're talking about the PapaSmithy video, right? With the interspersed footage of the 2018 team with him on it. It felt weird, man. It felt weird because I still remember what that all felt like when everything fell apart in 2018.
Yeah.
And so I must admit, while I was watching the footage that they put in there, I was thinking, were they happy during this time? When was this exactly? It looks like they like each other. There was even a shot of him right next to Prolly, and it looks like Prolly was having a good time and all this
stuff. Had a purple tie on. He's looking a little loungy.
Didn't know what to do. But here we are. And
here we are.
I don't know. We haven't, guys, obviously we haven't planned this show, so we don't really know where we're going, but
you don't gotta lie. It's scripted.
But do you want to talk about the video first? Do you want to talk about what we think the acquisition means? Yeah, go ahead, please.
I can tell you how I felt watching that video. So I had a good friend when I lived in a different city, and he explained to me the sensation he would get, and he called it upper lipstick, and it's a sensation he experienced. That stay with me.
Okay.
It's a sensation he experienced while he was mountain biking. And it was that he got a smile on his face that he couldn't unsmile. And it was just, there's this feeling he had of I just feel good. I like this. I like what I'm doing. I can't get my upper lip to go back down. I'm just smiling. And I have to tell you, Cole, I found myself smiling as I watched that video. This may be a testament to the genius of the 100 Thieves production team, because that is well established. But it was the music was hitting. It was perfect music. It was the right song. It was PapaSmithy and Meteos having some laughs and some goose and some spoofs. And it just felt like a delightful trip down memory lane. And when you said, I can't tell if they all secretly hate each other right now, just a moment ago, I did get a little like sweat on my brow because that's a really good point. But I got to tell you, man, I left that video with super good vibes. Like, I'm feeling optimistic, which is the point of the video, so it worked.
Yeah. So if nothing else, the video was a success. The Polarad thing was a success, and the video as a whole was a success.
It was a success. It worked. It got me doing this smile, and I couldn't stop. I just found myself smiling. Meteos is a super charismatic guy.
Sure.
He makes a ton of sense for this organization as you think about the way he shows up on camera. We'll get to this. He's the best jungler we've had on this team ever.
Yeah.
He's also probably the most charismatic player we've had. So those are not the most important things.
I'm an Aframo fan on the charisma
front. Yeah, and I will stick to that. I've made some takes in the past that I walked back pretty quickly, but I'm sticking with that. I think Meteos is actually better on camera than Aframo is. But we can get into that
sometimes
if we want to.
Energy vibes. No, I don't want to get into it, but yeah, sure.
I don't know. But that's what I'm saying is there's a lot in those aspects to like. The things that we can talk more about and transition into is what are the behind the scenes, right? What do they edit out of those videos that we're not seeing? That's what we don't know. And that's what PapaSmithy brought up.
Okay. All right. So we're going there first. All right. Fine.
First.
That's what PapaSmithy brought up. Fair enough. He did bring it up. Now, let me volley a question.
Put it out there like the first thing.
Let me volley a question right to you, okay?
Please.
Did you get your answer to that question? Did you get your answer?
No.
No, not at all.
We didn't.
No. Categorically,
do you think
no.
PapaSmithy has the full answer to that?
I bet he is aware of what happened. Yeah, because I don't think they just out of the blue like say, okay, well, we don't need to explain what happened to him. We just trust him to make this decision. No, of course it was talked about. But so here's the thing. It's like, this is where I'm a little bit weirded out already in the season, because it feels like they made a big deal about communicating their decisions and exactly what they're doing. And so the fans can understand everything, right? And it seemed to be this 180 from what it was at the start of 100 Thieves, right? Like it seemed like in the PapaSmithy Nate Shot video, it was basically saying, we are going to tell you why we're doing the things we're doing. We're going to explain everything, right? I don't feel like that box was checked here, because while they did bring that up, like he asked the question basically, like it was like you said, it was one of the first things he talked about was, you know, surely this has got to, you know, be a little bit weird for it's on everyone's mind, right? Yeah. But there was no sort of answer given. There was no sort of explanation for what happened. Now, I'm going to be very clear. I'm going to go on record here, very clear. I still do not believe 100 Thieves owes us any explanation of what happened. Okay? I know many people like that. They want to have that. They want to know all the information. They don't want anything to be a mystery to them. I personally am fine never knowing the details of that. Okay?
Are you more or less fine or unchanged now that Meteos is the starting jungler for 2020? Does that change at all how you think about this or feel about it?
I don't know yet. It's too early. Okay. It's too early. I think it doesn't change. I think I still don't feel a need for them to explain. Actually, when I think about it, it's because, well, look, let's save that. Let's save that, because I just want to hit on this point.
Put a pin in that.
Many people in the community, in esports in general, believe that ultra transparency is the way to go for these orgs. Some even feel that that is owed to fans. Okay. If that's your opinion, that's fine. Cool. Like, good for you. I personally don't hold that opinion. So I just want to say that out loud. Okay.
Okay. It's on record.
If you go out and say, we're going to be ultra transparent, we're going to tell you about everything, why we're doing everything. In this situation, I kind of feel like maybe you want to say a little more. Because we are all still wondering exactly what happened. Now, I would say you can probably make some conclusions, as we have previously. When this first happened, we made the same conclusion that I believe in today, right? Which was that there was an internal disagreement between Meteos and team management, possibly another player, but it seemed to me definitely like team management and coach, right? There was something not aligned there. And we know what that led to with the whole situation where maybe he asked for a trade or wanted to explore other options, rather, if I'm being more precise. And they said, okay, well, if you're going to do that, we're going to, make the trade that's best for the team. Like that all happened. But it seemed to have stemmed from some internal conflict with what I am guessing is Prawley, the coach.
Yes.
So
Fair guess.
To have him back in the fold now, you would think that Zix is here, Prawley's out. A big piece of that problem is gone. I'm not sure it's all of that. In fact, I thought it was a little weird that he specifically called out. He's glad that he wished that PapaSmithy had been the GM back then. Thought that was weird. Like that might be a little more into the team structure there with what happened. I don't know for sure, but I'm just saying, like, I would still make that same guess that we initially made. And while that's all fine and good, that still has not been officially confirmed. And if that is what you are telling us you are going to do, then you probably need to give a little more information to check that box, in my opinion.
So the way you're understanding this is, in saying we're going to be transparent and putting it out there and asking the question that everyone else is asking, but maybe not providing the answer that people are expecting to follow that question being rhetorically asked. What you're saying is maybe it's appropriate at this time to provide more than we've had in the past.
If that is your goal, yes. If you have told us transparency is the goal, then yes, I would explain that.
And I think the benefit of that I would see is it would soothe nerves of people like you and me and other fans who are wondering right now, well, what exactly was it that led us into this quagmire 16 months ago? And why should we be confident that we're not going to be here in
4 months
towards the end of the split? 4 months, redoing the show that we did before, as we have said we will do if we are forced to. We don't like to redo shows, but we'll do it. And that's where I think the benefit is, because PapaSmithy does have the full story. You can be sure of that. There are enough people around who still have the full story, and who knows, like if you get it from Prawley, you get Prawley's story, right?
Sure.
But there are neutral parties who are still there, or at least as neutral as you can get probably in this kind of thing, who could give him the download on here's exactly what happened. It's PapaSmithy's job to look at that and say, I've got a positional gap to solve here. And do I feel confident that Meteos is able to fill that gap with a low enough risk of blowing this thing back up that it's worth it? And he said yes. He made the decision that yes, it is worth it. And I think for us, what I'm interested to see is, should we or could we expect to be brought into his confidence, right? Like, why are you confident now that this is a good and right thing to do for the organization? That's the only thing that I'm curious about, and that I think I would personally appreciate. Whether or not there's a way to do that, I don't know. It might still be that the best move is to not do that.
Yeah, so I really liked that monologue that you just gave. I really liked everything you're saying there. I would say that I don't expect this to be gone into in further detail. I don't think PapaSmithy is tuning into 100 Talk tonight to learn what he should do.
Check who's in chat real quick.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I feel like that would go a long way. Not that I feel it's actually owed to us.
No.
But I do feel like that would go a long way. And I don't think it's coming, to be honest.
Yeah. I think that's a super important distinction you made, though. I think there's a lot of fans that we've seen who feel a sense of entitlement or that they're owed something, right? It's a transactional relationship. You give the fans something to get something back. If you want to give the fans some kind of explanation, you would only do that if you expect to get back their confidence in you as GM, right? And if you don't feel like giving them something is going to give you that back, then don't do it. Just don't do it. It's not worth it. But I think that you got to look at the math on this, right? Because it might work out. Like, for example, if what they did is they came out and said, you know what, Meteos, you're on the team before, and you had disagreements with the direction of the team, the strategy of the team, and how the game should be played. And, that was a point of contention between you and and I don't know if you want to name people, but probably. And so that's one of the things we're prepared to do is really think about, and here's how we're going to avoid these kinds of, toss-ups in the future is X, Y, and Z. Like that could be a good message to put out there. I don't know. What do you think?
I mean,
Like, I don't feel like that puts Prawley on blast, does it?
No, not really. No, I think that's fair. And I think to some extent they probably feel that they are doing that with this video. That's what I worry about is that they feel the job is done with the video. And I don't feel like that's the case. So I don't know. I will say that the very fact that Meteos is now back in 100 Thieves means that PapaSmithy is an excellent salesman and projects that confidence internally. No joke, because it's like he has gotten people on board with the idea of bringing this player back. He sees something in him. He believes he can handle this situation, whatever the baggage that may or may not be there. Again, if this is all tied to Prawley, then theoretically there's nothing there anymore, right? If that assumption is correct. So, kudos to him for coming in and swinging the big boy stick. You know what I mean? So, to that extent, it's an ultra powerful case for trust the Papa.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you make a good point there. He got Nade Shot to sign off on this and to sit down and to do a little skit with him. I mean, that's, that there's confidence there. Right.
Yeah.
You have to sell that to leadership.
Right. So good on him for doing that. Now we need to talk about Meteos as a player and not just focus on the baggage that may or may not still be a thing.
Right.
Because the fact is, if you look at the available junglers, I feel like we made out pretty well here.
True. Yeah.
Our thoughts on what happened with Meteos in 2018 for our team are on record, right? Like the whatever personal blowups they had, that tanked the team. It put it in a worse spot and it sent it into a spiral. Okay. But it wasn't like this was Meteos not performing on the Rift. On the whole, this dude was good for us. Right. And he was good as well for Optic when he had the shot to play.
Good. Yes.
So
very good for Optic.
When it comes to strictly being on the Rift, I feel pretty solid about having Meteos back. So
I feel very solid
with that respect, I don't have any holdbacks about the play. So that from that perspective, I'm thinking, hey, this is not so bad for the team.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, especially with the way we were prepared for things to go, the direction that we were prepared to go in, so far as quality of player, right, and expected outcome and deliverable from people who are going to be playing for us. I would say, like wins above replacement, to borrow a stat from baseball. He's up there, right? If you're bringing in like a pseudo academy jungler, you're going to get a lot more from Meteos than that person. You don't need to be an analyst on the desk to make that connection. So yeah, the talent is absolutely there. And I think that's a very positive contribution that we'll get from him there.
It'll be interesting to see. We do not have, like I said, the Ryoma thing is a leak from various sources. It's not a confirmed announced by 100 Thieves thing, right? To my knowledge, that thing it hasn't come from at 100 Thieves on Twitter. So the thing is, assuming he's our starter, which we don't know if he is or not, that means Meteos will be working with a new mid laner pairing. Obviously, we've seen them queue together, getting ready for the season, which was a big tip to this possibly happening today, which is, I think, the thing that made everybody else believe between that and the Twitter follows. So that's good, but it'll be interesting because now Meteos has to take his experience and, I think in the words of PapaSmithy, like his vast knowledge of macro play on the Rift, and how to play the map, and to give that to someone who's a young kind of prospect player, right, in Ryoma.
Which, that's another thing I was thinking about when we talk about Meteos as a player, right? I think I said it earlier. I stand by it. I think he's the best jungler we've ever had. And the only, like, the close second is, or not, I wouldn't say it's that close, but the second is amazing. And at least insofar as his impact on the team goes. But I think a lot of the things that we had talked about as being pain points for this team in the last year, I think Meteos he moves the needle on those, right?
Yeah.
Like, how do we snowball our lanes? How do we get our solo laners ahead? How do we effectively gank bot lane? How do we, talk about, he's somebody who's, I think, an incredibly effective counter jungler. Like, he plays in the other jungler's space a lot, makes people very uncomfortable. He does all those things. And so where we've had question marks before, I think we have some potential answers in Meteos. And the mid jungle priority is a really interesting one. I mean, not only are these guys, practicing together, but when you look at somebody like Saligo, who never had a chance to play with Meteos, but he's a very, I would call and say, and I think people would agree, a very conservative player. He doesn't seem like Ryoma is that kind of player, right? And Meteos is a pretty aggressive jungler who's going to make and go for plays. So just the surface test is going to say that there's probably more synergy there than if we had somebody like Saligo in at the starting point.
Yeah, so your thought is, if I'm hearing you correctly, that Meteos being a aggressive play first kind of player, initiate, don't react, where Saligo is kind of the opposite. Now, if we bring in Ryoma as a starter to pair with Meteos, that they are kind of in the same philosophy. Now, I'm not ready to make any general sweeping statements about Ryoma because I still just barely have seen this guy play. So I can't really vouch for that. But assuming that's true, then that's good. But you know where else that kind of synergy lies is with Aphromoo, who made those kind of calls as a support, especially during his time with Meteos when he was the spring split MVP. Like, Aphramoo's shot calling for aggression was something that played a big role in the success of 100 Thieves, and was something that I think during the early Bang struggles was kind of one of those issues that kept rearing its head, where Aphromoo seemed to want to go and Bang seemed to want to be a little more conservative. So we don't know Aphramoo's status either, right?
Yeah,
he is a free agent right now. He's streaming on Twitch without any 100 Thieves branding.
Well, really?
Like, this guy right now is not in 100 Thieves. He could sign again. He could come back.
Yeah,
he could not.
Wild.
We don't know about that yet. But there at least could be possible synergy there on that side of the map as well.
Yeah, that's a really important point to make, that I think us at our best was with those two on the Rift. And there have been so many variable changes and swaps that we've done in the three splits following Meteos leaving, that it's hard to say exactly like what changes resulted in what outcomes. But they seem to play well together. Now, whether or not they get along is a completely different question. And they did, that the roster blow up happened when the two of them were on the team together. So, and then the question is, well, we'll have to do another emergency pod as soon as that news comes out, because there's big implications there, right?
Yeah.
But potentially that could be a strong fit.
Yeah. So what makes this tough is that there are still multiple question marks for us, right?
Yeah.
Like, we still don't know what's going to happen in top lane.
Yep. We don't know what's going to happen in mid lane.
We don't know exactly what's going to happen in mid lane. Again, I'm putting my marbles in the Ryoma's the starter bucket.
Yeah. But it could turn out otherwise.
Yeah, it could turn out
Not
otherwise.
Announced. Yep.
We don't know what's happening in bot lane on either position, right?
The only thing we know is that Meteos is our starting jungler. That's
literally the only thing we know for sure, is that PapaSmithy introduced him as the starting jungler, right?
Yes.
Gosh, this leaves so much up in the air. People are talking about Demonte rumors. I don't know about that. We're wondering if we keep Someday or if we keep Bang. We've got an import slot taken up by Ryoma, right? If he's starting, that means we're making a choice. Who knows what is going to happen with this roster, man? I like, and all this to say, kudos to 100 Thieves, because this is not being leaked out.
Hey, yes.
We're not getting the wolf nuggets telling us what's exactly going to happen. It's kind of interesting. It's being played very close to their chest.
You can bet that they didn't know about Ryoma for long, because they didn't have any pre-roll or anything, any footage of him during the show.
In fact, didn't they roll footage of upset when?
Yes. So there's a pretty good chance that one was, obviously they knew, because I think Travis knew. So I'm sure Jacob Wolf knew. but not long. So that is kudos to the team on that.
February 14 in chat points this out, and I did notice this too actually in the video where during it he tells Meteos like be careful not to leak any AD announcements.
Yeah.
Right? So there could be a change brewing in the bot lane. So maybe that means someday is here. That would be crazy. Think if, especially if Aframu's here, right? Think if we have someday Meteos and Aframu on this team. We got a lot. We got the classic roster is making a comeback in a big way. Who knows? Maybe they'll buy Cody.
Oh.
Nope. But hey, don't listen to me because I also said I didn't think Meteos would ever be signed again.
Cody plays this game well, man. He had some good games in the last part of the season. Cole, anything's
They're gonna run back the Paul Rudd video. Who would have thought?
They don't even need to refilm Nate Shot's part, man. You cut. It's a different person. That would actually be super funny.
That would be hilarious.
That would be very funny.
It would be almost as funny as Cody Sun being back on the roster.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Well, so anything else on the emergency Meteos pod that we need to address? Anything that you would like to put out there? Chat, if you've got something you want to ask us, now's the time.
Yeah, start hitting the question in the chat. Cole, let me ask you while we're waiting on chat to bring us some stuff. I'll ask you a question. It's the same question that PapaSmithy asked Meteos. You're role-playing Meteos in this situation. I'm role-playing PapaSmithy. Does this feel like a fresh start, or are we returning to something old?
I don't know. I think I'm just playing.
Cole inserts himself into the RP server on this one.
I'm just playing. Okay, so the question is, does this feel like a fresh start or a return
to
fresh start,
or are we returning to the old way?
I can't say it's a return to the old ways when we've got a new coach and a new general manager and a new mid laner, arguably the most important position on the Rift.
Yes.
I just can't say this is a return. This feels different. This feels like something different. I don't know what level of skill to expect for this roster, especially with so many things up in the air right now. But this to me feels totally different.
I am glad to hear you say that, Cole, because I think that's what we need. I don't think we need to go back to an old thing here, and I don't think we should aim for that. And I value your response because I know that you don't respond to these kinds of questions emotionally, whereas I tend to. And I just say, I got a big old smile on my face and I feel good.
The sun is shining, everybody.
It's a new day and we got the same old Meteos
It's a beautiful morning.
But I think you're right. Like, that's what's going to take. It's going to take a fresh start. And I think we've got enough new pieces that it might be possible.
Right. I saw, hold on. I want to scroll back. I saw something in chat that was interesting. Oh, just going back to I guess this is just going back to the don't say anything about our AD kind of comment that he made. February 14 points out, it would be a weird thing to say if the same AD is under the same contract. On top of that, and this is the interesting part, they also mentioned how important fluent English is for communication, which is, that is kind of weird with two big name Korean imports currently on the roster, right? It's like
they're watching this video and they're like, hold up.
Wait a minute. You know, like they're talking about how valuable that communication is to have. And it's just like, and actually I say too, with Ryoma, that's 3, right? I guess Ryoma's, is he fluent in English? Is he? I don't
Australian.
know. Yeah, I don't know. He's Australian. Okay, cool.
Yeah, or at least that's where his residency. I don't know.
I don't know anything about this dude.
We know nothing about him. He's a total enigma.
Okay.
He's a polyglot. He speaks every language. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay, cool. They're going to like have some Inuit language that he's going to speak on the Rift. Good. I'm with it. But yeah, it's just kind of an interesting conversation when we're over here like, which import are they going to keep, you know?
Right. Right. Or none.
Yeah. I mean, so chat, thank you for pointing out, does not speak English. He speaks Australian. So
yes, an important note. Look, if you start using the wrong words on the Rift, how is anyone supposed to follow? He's going to say Barbie. It's going to be confusing.
That's the only Australian word we can think of.
That's all I got. Foster's for beer. I don't know. We got to work on that. I'll work on that.
Okay, well, cool. Well, if nothing else, I think we can wrap it up here in a shroud of mystery as we wonder what else is going to unfold.
Blake
regarding roster announcement.
Says, what did I miss?
Blake, what did I miss? Well, you missed the whole pod, man. You're gonna have to watch the VOD. You're gonna have to VOD squad this one.
VOD squad.
Yeah. If any of you host a VOD squad of this episode, I'll tune in and I'll subscribe.
And we'll restream it while you VOD squad it.
Okay, so we'll continue to watch for more announcements, more things being confirmed, maybe via Wolf Nugget, maybe via Under Thieves direct communication. We'll try and do as many of these things as we possibly can arrange with our busy dad life. But you know, we love you guys. We're here for you. We're your dads. We want to talk about things. You know, you can talk to your dad about anything. All right? Even Meteos coming back. You can talk to your dad about that. All right? That's what we're here for. So, as always, we love you and we miss you already.